Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hot Legs, straight from the Wine Exchange, with wine expert Kyle Meyer.
Oh, music to my ears. No better sound than that in the wine world. Fresh bottle of champagne getting opened. Not only a fresh bottle of champagne, but a terrific bottle of fresh champagne from a small independent grower in Champagne. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. Seeing as it's the holidays, we're getting close to game time, Christmas, all the kind of stuff. We're going to take a look at a couple very special champagnes that come from small domains in Champagne itself. Now, when we talk about domains, we talk about a small family-owned estate, which in Champagne is a bit of a rarity. Many of the champagnes you see out in the market today are owned by large houses, large concerns. LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy owns several champagne houses. The big companies have kind of taken the fun out of Champagne. But in fact of the matter, there are literally thousands of growers, and while most of these growers still sell their wines to these larger concerns to make their champagnes, many of these growers kind of go it on their own and produce world-class champagnes in small, microscopic quantities compared to the big boys that rival and surpass the big boys at much lower prices. We're going to feature two champagnes today from two different growers that we love here at Wine Exchange. The first one's going to be the Bruno Gobillard Cuvée Vieille Vigne, and then we'll also be featuring the Camille Sylvestre Grand Cru Carte d'Or. Brilliant wines. So let's begin. The first we're going to start with is the Bruno Gobillard Cuvée Vieille Vigne. Now, Bruno and Sophie Gobillard come from a long line of a long Champagne family. They're sixth generation. The earliest generation started in the mid-1800s, but Bruno and Sophie decided in 1990 to go it on their own. So they acquired a small amount of land by Champagne standards. We're talking about 8 acres. And when you consider that houses like Moet Chandon produce literally millions and millions of cases. These guys barely struggle to eke out maybe 3,000 or 4,000 cases total production from their entire vineyards, which makes these wines very hard to find and handcrafted. The true definition of artisan here. Bruno and Sophie make this wine from a patch of vieille vigne, which in French translated to English is old vines. These old vineyards that they own are in excess of 40 years old for this particular cuvée. This cuvée is a blend of 3 different vintages and is aged at least 3 years on its lees, en tirage, as the French like to say, before being cork popped and filled with a dosage, which is, if you're not familiar with the term, dosage is a blend of champagne and sometimes sugar, sometimes brandy. They use the top off the bottle after the initial corking, and then it ages for a few years and then off to market. So this is Gobillard's Cuvée Vieille Vigne. It's a blend of 45% Pinot Noir, 45% Chardonnay, and 10% Pinot Meunier, which Pinot Meunier is kind of like the secret weapon. It's like the anchovies in the pasta sauce. Nobody knows it's there, but it makes its presence felt in the final blend. All the vineyards are around the town of Épernay, which is south of Reims. Arguably the worst name for a town ever, but I don't know. And this is Pinot Noir and Chardonnay country. Different grapes do well in different areas of Champagne. But around this area, just around the town of Épernay, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay both rule the roost. Gorgeous nose. Not so yeasty, biscuity, doughy. This one's about fun. This is vivacious. Tons of Pinot-y fruit. A little bit of that yeasty character, but one word for you: delicious. This stuff just sings. It has this wonderful citrusy kind of lemon peel edge to the fruit, but it's not lean. It has a beautiful full middle to it without those overly yeasty, biscuity, doughy characters that the Brits dig, but sometimes we don't dig as much here in our champagnes in America. I love this stuff. Total production of this wine in a year, maybe 1,500 cases. I mean, that goes down the Moet bottling line in like 4 minutes. Unbelievable. So we truly love champagnes like Gobillard. This cat kicks tail. He's fantastic. So that's Gobillard's VV, terrific wine. Now we're going to move over to the Camille Sylvestre Grand Cru Brut Carte d'Or. Grand Cru, you say? Well, what does Grand Cru mean in Champagne? Well, Grand Cru in Champagne kind of means the same thing it does in the Burgundy region of France or in Bordeaux. It's the top class. It's the best of the best. And that's because Camille Sylvestre, the estate, is located in the town of Bouzy. And the vineyards around the town of Bouzy are considered 100% Grand Cru, which means they're the creme de la creme. Many of the grapes from around Bouzy are purchased by the larger champagne houses to go into what they call their luxury cuvées. The Dom Perignons, the Roederer Cristals, and wines like that. But think about it. If you're the Sylvestre people and you are in Bouzy, the only thing you can make is Grand Cru wines. So therefore, but they have to make wines from all over. You know, they can't just make, you know, $200 wine. I guess they could, but their idea is to make champagne for everybody. So what you get is you get a $50 bottle of champagne that literally all these grapes could easily find their way in any bottle of champagne from $150 to $300, $500 a bottle. The family's been around also since the 1800s. We're talking 4th generation here. Hervé Sylvestre runs the property. And like Bruno Gobillard, these guys get to do something unique in their vineyards. They get to farm by culture raisonnée. So there's no real agenda with their farming the vineyards. In fact, they let the vineyards kind of do their own thing. Unless a situation comes up, then they address it however they need to. But it's about as close to organic farming as you can get while still kind of thinking to yourself, you know what? We need to make wine this year. So kudos to the Sylvestre family and the Gobillards for the way they farm. This is a blend of 75% Pinot Noir, 25% Chardonnay. Now Bouzy, you may have heard of Bouzy Rouge. Well, Bouzy Rouge is Pinot Noir. And Bouzy is kind of like one of the top places for Pinot Noir in Champagne. So this wine's going to be, 75 Pinot, 25 Chardonnay, 4 years on the yeast. Here you get a little more dough. There's a little more time on tillage, aging in the cellar, so you get a little more of that doughy, biscuity thing, but it's not a bad thing at all. It's like fresh baked bread. It's like my grandma used to make. Mind if I swallow that one? Is it okay? Okay. Wow. This wine kicks tail. It has that, what they call that, a italicized yeast character, those yummy, yeasty, doughy characters. Tons of fruit on the palate. Once again, you get that lemon, you get green apple, you get a little bit of red fruit character from the Pinot Noir, although the wine's perfectly clear. They take the juice off the skins quite early, so there's no blush character to the wine. Sylvestre is small too. Basically farms about 22 acres, so hey, 3 times as big as Bruno Gobillard, but in the end we're talking 7,000 cases. I mean, just ridiculous quantities of wine at a ridiculous level of quality. I should spit that one or else we'll be in trouble. So anyway, there you have it. Getting set for the holidays. 2 of the greatest deals on champagne in the marketplace. When I say deals, these are around $50 a bottle. But however, they compare easily with wines that cost twice as much. You know, there's no ice buckets, there's no Moet Chandon White Star Girls, there's no T-shirts, it's just these guys, their wine, and a commitment to excellence. So, cheers, enjoy.